I'm eating a bowl of cheese and I'm lactose intolerant. Welcome back to another episode of Last Week in Comics, where I talk about the last week in comics. And thank God the book releases have finally slowed down a little bit. I was drowning every single week. Also, for some reason, I kept on getting jumped because I said I don't care about adaptations. Like, I personally do not care about adaptations, and I will not be talking about them. What was that about? Like, why do, like, people accept, like, changes and adaptations with... People were fucking, like, pissed that Annabeth had brown hair in, like, the Percy Jackson... Like, the first Percy Jackson movie. But suddenly I am just supposed to accept that Guy Gardner's a 50-year-old with a strawberry blonde bowl cut. James Gunn's too much of a coward to even make that man fucking ginger. Like, I don't trust him. He's like number 1 on my shit list. And I liked Peacemaker. That's how bad he fucked up. Anyway, greatest adaptation of all time, still to this day, Blue Beetle, starring fucking Miguel Diaz from Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is just a really good adaptation of Jaime's first volume, too. It's kind of funny.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. Anytime he's with Bruce. Okay, fine. Cobra Kai is a good adaptation of Generation Lost. Anyway, releases this week. Starting off on books that I actually read this week. Absolute Wonder Woman number 5. Woo! We got the conclusion of our first arc, kind of setting up the universe. And, my God, this issue was just gorgeous and just... It's everything that a Wonder Woman adaptation should be. Like, it was the light in the darkness of the cancellation of the Wonder Woman video game that we so desperately needed. Kelly Thompson is just a fucking amazing writer. This is actually now the second time that she has taken a female character who had been basically dismissed and revitalized them. The first being her Captain Marvel run, which I highly appreciated after the disaster that was Civil War II. And so to see her do it with Wonder Woman now, I need her on the mainline book. Like, this isn't like just like a want, this is a need. I don't know why she has not been given Wonder Woman. And hopefully this book does prove that she can handle Wonder Woman. Because, like, just the way that she kind of, like... this issue, essentially ends the monster fight that's been happening for the past couple, like, this first arc. We get the backstory behind Wonder Woman's new lasso. So instead of it being the lasso of truth, it's more like the lasso of lies. The way that Cersei explains it is that it's the lasso of sacrifice. I call it the lasso of lies because it essentially has transformation magic in it that allows Wonder Woman to transform into Medusa, to freeze this giant monster. But, like, also at the same time, because she's telling herself this lie, she then, like, she loses herself in the transformation. And I think that's a really interesting way to flip the lasso of truth on its head. You know, a lasso that makes you essentially lose the truth. Honestly, overall, like, a lot of people think that, a lot of people had their criticisms at first, like, before the series came out, about Wonder Woman's primary weapon being a sword, but giving, when it should be the lasso, it's always been the lasso, but, like, giving this kind of backstory with the lasso, that makes it, kind of makes sense why she doesn't use it nearly as much as some of her other weaponry. Amazing, and especially how it sets up that, like, the lasso was given to her, because she is not a whiz at transformation magic. It's actually the one that she is the worst at, which fits with Wonder Woman, you know, a character who's mostly defined by truth and being, like, true of heart. So to like, have her, like, not be good at transformation magic, even though magic is all that she's been learning, and like, she's without the Amazons, and it's just, it's so amazing. I love this book so much. But, like, to have that be her biggest weakness, but then Cersei's biggest strength. Cersei makes the lasso so Wonder Woman can kind of carry her wherever she goes. Like, it's a part of her because that's the magic that she specializes in. And it's just, everything about this book is so amazing. And I'm so glad that we have a Wonder Woman book that focuses on her relationship with women. It's great. Fuck you, James Gunn. I can't believe you fucking did that to Cersei. I fucking hate you. So essentially how Wonder Woman is broken out of this curse is by her, I'm just gonna call her gang of lesbians. Specifically, Etta Candy's sister points out that, like, you know, because of the transformation, she's lost a part of herself. And then Butch Steve Trevor, because that's just how I'm going to refer to him now, he, him, lesbian, Steve Trevor, then kind of, like, helps Diana find the truth. Like he reminds Diana that she is herself, that she is this just being of pure love and sacrifice, and it's insane. I don't normally like Steve Trevor like this, but this book has turned me around on him. Maybe because he's a he, him lesbian, and I'm dating one. My he, him lesbian. Oh my god. You can cosplay Steve Trevor, babe.
What am I gonna wear? My tank top and some fucking army pants and combat boots? I wear that every day. He just looks like me.
Exactly.
Steve Trevor stole my drip and he can't even pull off this fit. Get you a he-she lesbian. Goes nuts, goes crazy.
That is true. That is true. Anyway, with the monster defeated, everyone's kind of celebrating. We're getting the Wonder Woman gang together for the first time. And then Wonder Woman gets dragged to fucking hell. And I can't wait to see where this series goes. Because clearly her being on Man's World has pissed off some other entity. And now they're coming after her. And I cannot wait. Like, everything about Absolute Wonder Woman, from the art direction to the writing to the style to everything about it, is just so wonderful that if you know, I get it. Single issues aren't for everyone. When the trade comes out, you need to pick up that first trade. I cannot express to you enough just how much this first arc is quintessentially Wonder Woman. And, like, it's so Wonder Woman that I have a friend who does not read comics at all. She has never read comics at all. And one of the books, but she is a very big fan of Wonder Woman, you know, the pop culture idea of Wonder Woman, because, again, Wonder Woman is a defining archetype of the genre of superheroes, and you need to stop disrespecting her, James Gunn, Thomas King. You know, she asked me for, like, hey, you know, I'm very disappointed that there hasn't been any Wonder Woman projects. Can you recommend me some stuff? And so, you know, obviously Wonder Woman Historia. I think I recommended Gail Simone's run. I put DC Bombshells just because of her personally, like, her personality-wise, I know what she likes. But one of the ones that I 100% recommended was Absolute Wonder Woman, because this book is just so quintessentially her, despite the fact that it is a universe without the Amazons, that I love it. It's great. Stop fucking disrespecting her, Warner Brothers. Stop fucking disrespecting women and female characters in general, Warner Brothers. So the other book I read this week was, of course, Justice League Unlimited by Mark Waid. Honestly, my biggest criticism of this book is that it's doing too much. So you have the A-plot, which is essentially they're trying to save the Green from being destroyed. They bring on the former Swamp Thing's daughter to help out. And that part of the book's beautiful. I think that's probably where the book is at its peak, is when it's just like showcasing all of these different heroes, how they're working together to solve an issue. However, I need Wade to remember that this isn't a TV show. You have a 22-page limit, not a 22-minute limit. Because, like, you have that plot, and then you also have the B plot of, like, essentially Batman just the whole thing that's been going on with Martian Manhunter and him losing his powers, specifically his telepathy, and kind of feeling a little bit more on edge because of it. And, you know, Batman's trying to tell him that he's the heart of the team, and, like, he has not, the Justice League has not given Martian Manhunter the respect he has deserved since the fucking 80s. Well, no, since the 90s. I don't know, if you're going to go on this entire rant about that, he should be leading. He should be one of the main members of the League again. quite honestly, what I'm really hoping from Unlimited is that once the all-in aspect of it ends, this book then lends itself back into the good old Justice League International days. You know? Where you have this team of kind of like characters who, quite honestly, could probably not hold their own ongoings, but people still like seeing. You have them all on a team together, and you take, one issue focuses on these two, one issue focuses on these two. You have it be a little bit more smaller scale, because it's clear that that's what they're trying to do. But the problem is that you still have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman there. And, Batman and Superman have their own books that they can deal with their own issues in. Can't say the same about Wonder Woman, but, it's either you need to scale back the League or you need to extend the page number, because, too much is happening in this book that it just kind of feels like you're constantly, in a rush. And, especially because, at the end they tease the whole, oh, Airwave's, a mole on the team. Who is he helping out? And I'm I completely forgot about it because they hadn't mentioned it for, 2 issues, and just so much other stuff was going on that I genuinely didn't even remember that was a plot line that was supposed to happen. It could also be with the problem that, again, Mark Waid and Dan Mora are working on multiple books in here, and they're probably overworked to hell, and, scale back, you two. I get it. You guys are on a roll, but, I'm worried. I don't know. Is it good? Yeah. Is it really mostly meant to appeal to Justice League Unlimited fans? Justice League Unlimited, the animated series fans? Yeah. Am I gonna keep on reading it? Well, they had both Ten and Jaime appear for exactly one panel. So yeah, because that's the only way I've been seeing them lately. Where's Booster? Why haven't we brought up Booster, at all? Where is he? It was a big deal that he got sent to, the absolute universe, and then just no one has done anything with it. I'm hoping that the Free Comic Book Day special mentions something, but, at this point, I'm not hopeful. Ted's, 10 times more annoying. Someone needs to also call him out for, he needs to feel like something's off. That would require him getting page time. I know that's not gonna happen. Now, on to the other stuff that I did not read, but I hear a lot about, because I cannot read everything. Unfortunately, first on my list is another Thomas King book. Tom is a nickname, and Thomas King is no friend of mine. Whenever I have to, I make these rules for myself. I don't have to bring up a Tom King book, but I choose to. But I would like to remind people that Tom King is a war criminal. He did help plan the Iraq invasion. He's also just not a good writer. But the big thing is, he is a war criminal. We should not be giving him any recognition in the industry. However, I think we should be boycotting his books almost entirely. We should just not be talking about them so that DC stops giving him books. Because right now, both of the 2 big studios realize that they can draw a lot of press online that result in sales by rage baiting. That's why they give Tom King books. That's why Nick Lowe is still the editor of Spider-Man. With that, I also have a little... I feel weird about it because, again, if we don't bring it up, then no one will. Specifically because Black Canary Best of the Best does Tom King's favorite thing, which is racism towards anyone who isn't white. They specifically have yet another instance of a white woman brutalizing a woman of color. There's this, scene of Black Canary pummeling Lady Shiva as she, begs for mercy. Which, first off, Lady Shiva wouldn't do that. That's just, that's out of character writing. But, this is the second time, the first time being when he had Selena, who is a less skilled fighter, against Talia, and he made Selena just kick her ass. Which, that one was probably even more racist, because, again, reminder, Tom King helped plan the Iraq invasion. It's racist, and it's weird. No, it's racist. It's just plain racism, especially because they're coloring Lady Shiva browner than she's ever been in any other comic. Lady Shiva's Chinese. And, like, yeah, brown Chinese people exist, but, like, this feels racist. This feels like Tom King wants to brutalize any brown woman he can. My point is that, like, we need to talk about this in a very constructive way that tells DC that this is not okay. That they need to fire Tom King, that they can't keep doing this. We need to have it be an actual discussion of racism and the brutalization of women of color, specifically perpetuated by Tom King, because reminder, this is like the second time that he has written something like this. We need to talk about it in a way that tells DC that we no longer want to support them because of it. There is some validity in talking about it, but the way that some people talk about it online ends up detracting from the point because they focus too much on Tom King being a bad writer and not the explicit racism that he puts into his books. That is the issue here. And so, like, again, there is some validity in talking about his rampant militarization, his rampant racism, like everything wrong with Thomas King, but you need to do it in a constructive way that is telling DC that you are no longer going to be purchasing from them so that they take him off of books. Not in, oh, he's such a bad writer kind of way. Because that's the kind of stuff that tells DC, oh, people are going to keep on reading this, versus discussing the racism and calling them out for it that will tell them, oh no, this isn't okay, we're not going to make money off of this. Friendly reminder, if there's an actual problem you have in comics, be constructive about it. Next on my list, Green Arrow issue 21. This book is definitely still coming out. This book removed most of the Arrow family, and I feel like having, like, Mia and Sienna and, like, all of the, like, Arrow children definitely gave this book a lot more press than it's getting now. And, like, yeah, I get it, they're dealing with the events of All In, but, like, that was the only way that I got to see Connor Hawke for a while, and that was the only reason I was even remotely keeping up with that book. So it's interesting, but I guess because it's been going on for so long, they found the Green Arrow fans, they're keeping pretty consistent numbers, so they don't need that as much, but it just makes me not interested in the book. But it's probably someone's cup of tea. Okay, next up, Harley Quinn number 48. For some reason, this week is how I found out that they've been keeping Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy in an open relationship, like, this entire time. I don't know why they're doing that. Harley seems pretty monogamous, but, I mean, probably Ivy isn't, but I don't know. It's, I just found out about this. This has been going on for a while now, actually. See, because I've only been reading Poison Ivy, it just seemed like her and Harley Quinn were, like, kind of, like, broken up but still friends. But, like, then I turn around to the Harley Quinn books that are like, yeah, we're in an open relationship. Like, what? And I assume that this is just because, like, writers don't want to keep up with each other. Like, Poison Ivy's been going on with the same writer for a lot longer than Harley Quinn has. So, I guess it's just lack of communication between the writers, and DC's kind of fine with it. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea as long as they just don't bring it up ever. But yeah, Harley Quinn's still happening. That was, like, all the news I heard from this book. Next on my list, Lil Batman, month 1, number 4. I love the Lil Batman series. I think it's a very wholesome take on Damian Wayne. If you want to get your kids into comics, I highly recommend Lil Batman. It's in the same vein as Tiny Titans, which is what got me into comics when I was a kid. It's just a really cute book series, and I love its interpretation of Damian and Talia and Bruce and Talia's relationship. I know soon, because of the DCEU and how much Gunn praises Grant Morrison, we're gonna get the horrible Talia characterization again. So it's nice to see something like Lil Batman continue to keep her with her actual characterization. Like, even if it's something as small as a children's book. Okay, Metamorpho, the Element Man, number 3 of this mini-series that is coming out because he's in James Gunn's Superman. This is what I'm talking about when I'm like, I'm okay with this happening because of adaptations. Because Metamorpho is a character who notoriously doesn't get books anymore. So giving him a little mini-series, perfect. I've heard good things about it. The people who like Metamorpho are enjoying it. I do believe that they're bringing back Element Girl, which I like her design. I think she's cool. So I'm happy that she's at least in something. I'm probably, with a lot of like miniseries like this, I tend to read them after they all come out, just because I'm not keeping up on it because, you know, I'm doing it as a reviewer. I'm just reading it because I want to know what happened. If you want to see what Metamorpho's deal is, apparently this is a good comic to read. Although I don't like adaptations, I'm okay with them if they actually do get people to read more comics. But in most cases, they don't, because the fucking people don't respect the medium. We got some great Power Girl news this week. So Power Girl issue 18 happened. That is not the great news. The great news is the book got fucking canceled. Yeah! I have been preying on this book's downfall, despite the fact that I have been buying it for a while now. I don't like Leah Williams. I don't like her. I don't think that she can write Karen. That's right. Her name is fucking Karen Starr, not fucking Paige. I'm so glad that this book is over. I'm so fucking glad, especially because we're getting the summer of Superman soon, and Sophie Campbell, who I didn't realize was trans when I made the video last week, but we're getting a trans woman writer on Supergirl. This is like the greatest fucking news I could have ever gotten. Supergirl and Power Girl Nation is winning right now, and I can only hope that we get a Mariko Tamaki Power Girl book after this. Please hire Mariko Tamaki again. I need her. I need her so badly. Please. Next on my list is The Flash. I forgot that The Flash was a character. So, The Flash issue 18 came out. My resident Flash mutual, The Flash Museum, aka Avery, has not read a lot of the most current stuff. But, yeah, this is, like, another book that, like, doesn't really make the rounds online. But, like, you know, hey, if you like The Flash, the All-In initiative kind of did do a mini reset on a lot of these books. So, even though it says 18... there's an easy jumping on point that happened within, like, the last, like, month or two. So if you're into The Flash, if you're into Barry, I say go for it. I the Flash books have been pretty consistent recently, especially since we're also getting Absolute Flash. Alright, next up, Superman issue 23. I still think that they're dealing with the fallout of Lois Lane's Superwoman. I know that Mercy Black has been in the past couple issues because of that. But it doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon, which I find very interesting. At first it felt like one of those changes that would eventually just be like ridden off really quickly, but they're really sticking with it, and I think that it's gonna last at least until the summer of Superman, which is maybe that's like the big conclusion of all of this. But yeah, still excellent art by Dan Mora. The Superman book has been solid since it relaunched with the new #1. I say especially if you want to read more Superman but can't really stand a lot of older comics, I would jump in now. This is my hot take. Jump in, read comics. This is not hot. This is apparently a hot take. Read more comics. Okay, next up on my list, Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween. This is gonna be a book that's gonna be really popular in trades. This is gonna be really popular when it comes to trade, but, like, for right now, it's just kind of a thing. I feel like with a lot of, like, mini-series that, like there's mini-series that have the potential to spin off into their own ongoings, like Black Lightning and Zatanna. But then there's miniseries that you know are going to have a definitive end, and I feel like with those miniseries, a lot more people would just wait till it's all collected in a trade and read it that way. I won't read it because I don't like Batman, but that's a me issue. I definitely think that, like, once it gets put into trades, people should check it out, especially if they like The Long Halloween, which this is a sequel to, or a prequel, or it's related somehow. Again, I don't read Batman. Alright, so Detective Comics 1084 came out. If you didn't know, Thomas Taylor, the other horrible Thomas writer, is taking over the book currently. He's having Bruce Wayne fuck Joe Chill's daughter. It's a whole thing. And I remember people online accused him of self-inserting himself into the book as Joe Chill's daughter, and he thought people were saying that he's inserting himself into the book as Batman. Again, the best way to show DC that you do not care about these writers, not in the case of Thomas King. In the case of Thomas King, we have to have a honest-to-God discussion about the rampant racism and militarization of superheroes. That's a separate conversation to his writing. But for someone like Thomas Taylor, best way to show them is to just not give them attention. That's what Thomas Taylor is looking for. He's looking for attention. And so if you just don't talk about his book, he'll lose interest like he did with Nightwing. It's just how it is with some of these writers. I'm pretty sure the same thing happened with Zeb Wells. And also kind of Nick Lowe. For fuck's sake, if you don't like Paul, just stop talking about him. Next on the list, Green Lantern issue 20. I don't think that Carol Ferris was in it, because Daystar did not complain about the book as much as Daystar normally does. So that's at least a good thing. Carol's free, finally. With Green Lantern, I just don't care about Hal Jordan. We need another... I feel like it's been a while since we've let someone else that's not Hal take over the main Green Lantern title, and I think that's what we desperately need at this time. I get that Absolute Green Lantern is going to be Joe Mullins, but, I feel like someone else needs to take over the mainline book, too, because, I think a lot of people are getting tired of Hal, and, I get it. I get why they're keeping Hal, because, Lanterns, the series, is going to be using him. But, they're also going to be using Jon Stewart, and I think Jon Stewart deserves the main Green Lantern title more than Hal does. Bring back Parallax, honestly. Bring back the fucking Spectre. Just do something with him other than letting him be Green Lantern. Especially if you're going to bring back Sinestro and Green Lantern Corps instead of Green Lantern with Hal. This is the whole thing. I don't give a fuck about Hal Jordan. Speaking of Green Lanterns, I actually do give a fuck about Green Lantern Dark. Issue 3 came out. We've been buying this series. I've not been keeping up with it. I do think that it is a mini. I don't think it's full ongoing. It's by Tate Brombold, the same person behind the current Batgirl run. So you already know it's going crazy in there. But yeah, I need more people to read this book. It's genuinely a great new look at a lantern. If you're buying time until Absolute Green Lantern comes out, this is a great series to get into. It's only been 3 issues. It's not going to be much more. Get the trades if you want to. I also just really like the lantern design. I like lantern designs where they don't look like just some person in spandex. Alright, now on to the indie books. I'm just going to shout out a few that personally come to mind as stuff that I like to read. So, from Image Comics, G.I. Joe, a real American hero. I say this every single time a G.I. Joe book comes out. I need to get my dad into the series because he used to read the old Joe comics. If you don't like older comics but you want the same feeling as the original G.I. Joe ones, jump onto the current ongoing by Image. It's great. They also have a Scarlet mini-series. It's wonderful over there. Also, next on my list, a personal favorite of mine, Radiant Black, issue 31. I don't like the main Radiant. I don't like Radiant Black, but I do like the rest of the Massive verse. Specifically, I like Radiant Pink and Radiant Red and Inferno Girl Red. They're all amazing. I like the universe that Radiant Black sets up, quite honestly, and I hope that this series continues on. And honestly, I know I shit on adaptations a lot, but I love it when indie comics get adaptations because they're usually very, it comes from a place of love and appreciation for the comics. Invincible is a great example of this. I do hope that Radiant Black gets the Invincible treatment. It's just a series that would lend itself so well to an adaptation, especially with all the influence from shows like Power Rangers and Tokatsu series, and I need it. I honestly, if you like Power Rangers, pick up Radiant Black. It's by the same guy who made a lot of the great Power Rangers comics. This is probably going to be the first time I mention Archie comics in this, which is surprising, but to be fair, Archie comics sell, like, extremely well. Anyway, I think it's really interesting. So, a new issue 1 just came out for them. Chilling Adventures presents The 9 Lives of Salem, aka the cat that hangs out with Sabrina. And honestly, Archie horror goes fucking insane. Like, they have never made a bad horror story with Archie. So if you like the Sabrina the Teenage Witch series, or you like the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I would recommend it. The Archie comics go hard, actually. I genuinely, whenever I do check out an Archie comic, it's like the best thing I've ever read. Especially Ryan North's work on Archie, specifically with Jughead. And then, of course, I would be remiss to mention IDW's Star Trek comics. So we got 2 this week. Star Trek Defiant and, oh, I didn't realize that it came out this week. Okay, so Star Trek Section 31 came out. So this is kind of a tie-in to the current series that they're making on Paramount Plus, starring Michelle Yeoh. Is like the two kind of like tie in together. That's the thing I love about Star Trek. Everything is canon in Star Trek to some capacity. You know? Like, we have like 2 universes, they cross over. It's great. I love Star Trek. Section 31 just got their first issue. I highly recommend it, especially if you love Michelle Yeoh, if you're into the Star Trek shows that are on Paramount, you need to check it out. And then also from IDW, of course, we got 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures, which is just kind of, you know, taking that Saturday morning universe and expanding it. And just the mainline title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 7. So if you've always considered getting into Turtles comics, I suggest you hop on now. These runs last for a while, so issue 7 isn't that bad. It's great. Read more comics, read more indie books. Okay, so now we're moving on to solicits. Last week after I filmed, that's when they released it, so... Alright, so first off is, if you didn't know, they're doing a Hush Part 2. I don't like Jeff Loeb. I also don't like Jim Lee, so I don't recommend this at all. Maybe if you like Hush, I don't like Hush or Batman, so... But, you know, I want people to read more comics, even if it's the comics I hate. So, if it interests you, then more power to you. Oh, and then, fuck, I forgot the Dan Slott's on Superman now. So, we also got Superman Unlimited number 1. This is a miniseries by Dan Slott. It's coming out May 2025. It's definitely going to be a Dan Slott book. The most notable thing that people kept on talking about with this was the James Gunn variant. I don't give a fuck. Oh my god! Okay, so I know that last week I did announce that, you know, the new Supergirl series, by Sophie Campbell. I know I did announce that, but, now because the solicits are out, we actually get, like, a more detailed description. I want to read it off because it makes me go fucking insane. Kara Zor-El has been a key member of the Super Family in Metropolis, but what happens when she strikes out on her own? Follow Kara as she returns to her roots in Midvale, home of Supergirl. They're sending Kara back, which I'm a little bit worried about because I'm worried about, like, her being de-aged, but I trust Sophie Campbell. I trust a woman on Supergirl. But how could this be? Our hero has not been back in years, and the protector of the town has been saving the day for weeks. Can Supergirl stop the imposter? Can Supergirl stop the imposter before they steal her fresh start and life? We're getting another fucking Supergirl clone, and it makes me go feral. I cannot wait for this. I am so ready. May 2025. It is it's not the summer of Superman to me. It's the summer of fucking Supergirl. I'm hyped as hell. Oh, I forgot we also get AAPI variants because it's May. And so they have a nice Dr. Light one for Justice League Unlimited. So you know my ass is buying it. My ass is gonna go broke again. I forgot. So, because of Mr. Terrific's live action debut, which again, this is the good stuff that comes because of adaptations. But we are getting a new Mr. Terrific mini, Mr. Terrific Year 1. I'm excited. I like Mr. Terrific. I'm probably gonna pick this up. I liked him in JSA. I like him here. I like that he's getting more stuff, honestly. If you want to find out more about Mr. Terrific in the comics, this is probably a great place to start. Other than that, go read JSA in 1999. I fucking love that book. Okay, so Action Comics 1086. G. Willow Wilson's fucking on it. Woo! Oh, apparently G. Willow Wilson's doing like an entire arc on Superman. Or on Action Comics. I didn't realize that. Fuck. Should have been reading that this entire time. Green Lantern cover with Simon Baz and a separate one with Carol Ferris. The one good thing about Green Lantern Corps is that there's a lot of variants coming out that highlight the individual lanterns. Because we're getting a Kyle exclusive one, a Simon and John one, a Carol Ferris one, and a Kelly and Simon one. We're getting 2 fucking Simon Baz variants, and that just makes me happy. Oh, also crazy thing, because sometimes I like looking at what they're reprinting, what the facsimils are, just because it kind of gives you some insight into what they're essentially aiming towards. But one of the facsimils is going to be Superman versus Shazam. Well, they're doing an all-new collector's edition of that, and I find that kind of weird, given that they're definitely not making any more Shazam things. And also, the Shazam ongoing got canceled. Also, pretty recently, they've been reprinting a lot of war comics, which I find weird. Like, I'm seeing more and more in my local comic book shops, like, an entire section dedicated to war comics. And, like, yeah, they've always, like, kind of been there, but it's never been, like, as prominently out there. You know? It's a little weird. For me, personally. Okay, they're also reprinting one of my favorite fucking books from when I was a kid. One of the things that got me into comics, Supergirl Adventures in the 8th Grade. If you are specifically a elementary school teacher, you need to get this if you want to get your kids into comics. It's amazing. It's what got me into Supergirl. So I'm very excited that they're reprinting, like, good Superman books, or that they're reprinting good Supergirl books, because they're also reprinting the New 52 Supergirl. There's a lot of super people. Anyway, that was kind of it for solicits. There's not a lot of new number 1s in May, which kind of makes sense. It's a lot of preparing for the Summer of Superman that's happening, especially when it comes to trades. There was a couple Wonder Woman, specifically Wonder Woman by George Perez, and some classic Wonder Woman in DC Finest. They're being reprinted, which makes me hopeful that hopefully we'll get something Wonder Woman, but it could just be they had anticipated a Wonder Woman something or other around then. It's bleak for us Wonder Woman fans. Anyway, that was another episode of Last Week in Comics. Subscribe, go check out my other stuff. I do reviews of comics on Shorts. I do Ash and Their Fantastic Friends, which is my live show, where I think we're going to be talking about Green Lantern because we're supposed to watch it tonight all together as like a group activity. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. I never know. They just kind of tell me we're doing this now, and I'm like, okay. It's my show in name only. I'm hopefully going to start putting out more content, because I got busy again, and I got tired all the time. But anyway, so up here is going to be another video. Maybe it's an episode of Ash and Their Fantastic Friends, my live show that I do every Saturday, 9 p.m. EST. Maybe it's another Last Week in Comics. Maybe it's a short. I don't know. It's going to be something. It's whatever best fits you, so you watch more things. And then down here is going to be the rest of the playlist for Last Week in Comics. If you want to find out what happened every week since, like, November now, go check it out. I talk a lot about things. Talk a lot. Like, insane amount. And then subscribe over here. I do a bunch of amazing content, and I'm probably going to do more based on, well, comics. Specifically, if you want to learn how to get into collecting comics, I have, like, an entire, like, video series planned on that. And then, of course, the White Wingfoot video essay, which I have to end every single video by plugging this, because I need people to pressure me into finishing this thing. This is my goddamn magnum opus, okay? It's everything I've been working towards. Like, subscribe. Follow me on other platforms that are linked below. Give me $5 if you want to. Maybe I'll make a video for you if you give me $5. Like, give me $5. Say, I want you to talk about this thing, and I'll do it. Honestly, that's the only way I'll talk about adaptations. You give me $5, I'll talk about whatever adaptation you want. It's not going to be positive, but I'll talk about it. Anyway, and cut.